are an important thing that we can give back to our community. When someone is going through cancer, it's a really big deal. Ed will talk more about it, but the women become very motivated when they get to this point because it doesn't cost them anything. It's a gift from someone else in the community that goes to them. It's really an important part of your self-esteem, and we have the need for more wig stands than local clubs can produce. So if we can chime in on that. Now, I had a lady, one of our members, who will remain nameless, that is also a cancer patient, that received an email and said, you know what, I'm not a turn, I don't want to turn, but I'm a cancer patient and I want to donate the money for the wood to make wig stands. So how that's all going to come together, we're still in the very early stages, but I'm going to meet with her on Friday morning and see if we can get wood donated for it to make some of these wig stands. I don't want a project, I'd like a project like this to be similar to Penn Recruit, where we make a certain amount of them and we deliver them. I mean, we've got Spanish Springs, we've got Florida Cancer Specialists, we've got lots of opportunities to dole these out. So it really makes a big difference. So, and I'll turn the reins over to you. Ed has been working on this for the last 7 years. He's made a ton of wig stands and he knows the people that distribute them. It's just a really, really cool thing. So thank you for your time. Ed, you're up.
I belong to another club. I belong to the Central Florida Woodworkers Club, and they got contacted a number of years ago. Actually, it came a roundabout through Arizona, and I lived in Mount Dora at the time, and the people at the Waterman Hospital decided that they were going to pair up with Strands of Hope Boutique. And Strands of Hope is they have a little room set aside in the hospital, and anybody that suffers from hair loss due to a medical condition, old age doesn't count. But if you've got some kind of a medical condition, again, one of the big ones is obviously the chemotherapy for people, and I'm told that there are a lot of other drugs that can have that similar type effect. Well, the Strands of Hope and of course, suddenly losing your hair and going through chemotherapy and all of the things associated with why you're getting chemotherapy really can do a job on a person's psyche. So what these Strands of Hope does, they help people understand how they can make themselves look better and feel better. Of course, when you look better, you feel better. So, and anyway, they started giving away, they're a complete non-for-profit organization. They get donations, there's no charge they give each person that comes in there 2 wigs, and if they have enough, they give away a free wig stand. And the lady that I've been dealing with said that she's had multiple people that come in, and when they get when she tells them that they can have one of the wig stands, it becomes very emotional for them. So anyway, our president got contacted by someone from Arizona and said, in this area in Arizona, they make wig stands. Do you guys do anything like that? And of course, when he found out about it, he said, "Yep, we can." So that's how it got started with the Central Florida one. And what I'm hoping to do, depending on how many I can get in the beginning, I want to go up to the hospital here, and I don't know if they have something similar to that at the hospital. And I'm told that there's a Florida Cancer Institute?
Florida Cancer
Specialist, okay. I'm going to go see them and see if that's something that we can have the wig stands donated to those organizations kind of in the meantime. But if anybody wants to have one for Waterman, I'll gladly take them out there too. whatever's gonna work out. My second hope with that would be that maybe somehow we could get the wood donated, and Steve has said somebody wants to donate some wood already for, I think, not because of the wig stands, but because of the kindness of their heart. If we can get someone to donate wood for the wig stands, we can have the discs cut out, and we can have the, I've been using 2x2 stuff that I have at home. I was fortunate enough, my dad had cut down, he had a farm, and he cut down the trees along the edge of the fields because he rented it out to somebody, and of course the trees hanging out over there inhibit the growth of whatever they plant there. So I wound up with I had 16-inch boards, 16-inch black cherry boards that were 2 inches thick. Or what did I say, 16 feet long, 2 inches thick, and 17 inches wide. So unfortunately, I couldn't bring it all with me when I moved to Florida. But anyway, I've got the handouts. I got a handout here, and go ahead and take one if you think might make one. This is just a guideline. The reason I brought the ones in that I brought in tonight there, I wanted people to understand. Use your imagination on these things. Okay, these on the back is a picture, and again, it's sort of, I've kind of adopted this style here only because I can do one in probably, I don't know, 3 hours maybe from start to finish with it, and I've got everything set up so that I know when this is a 1-inch hole. So I know that the top and the bottom are 1-inch holes. I've got a 1-inch bit. I use a set of dial calipers to do the tendons with, and everything goes. But the rest of it in the middle is, let me see what the day is doing. So anyway, those are just guidelines. The same way with the height and the bottom. You saw one in there that has the bottom of it like this. And the lady said that Gail, the lady that I deal with, she said the ladies like those because they can put earrings in there, they can put rings in there, all of the nice pieces of jewelry that you have, and it's right there. So it doesn't slide to the back of the drawer and you forget you've got it. With this one, I've already got a base turn here, and again, I'll pass this around. You can take a look at it. I did do some lasering on the bottom of it, and I've had some questions about what kind of laser that I've got. And it's a relatively inexpensive laser. I brought it in tonight and set it up there, and I'll show you a couple of things, and I'll try to answer any questions or whatever. I just looked them up on the internet, and they looked like it was a reasonable laser. Right now, not with this many attachments, but you can get it for I think right around $200. And
is that laser pecker?
Pardon me?
Is that a laser pecker?
Yes, it's a laser. This one here is the Laser Pecker 1 Pro. It doesn't, you're not going to cut stuff, you're not going to engrave glass with it, you're not going to do a lot of things that the high-powered lasers will do. But this is what I got it for, not just these, but I got tired of trying to do my name on the bottom of a bowl, either with a pen and watching the ink run out and follow the grain, or try to wood burn them, and every time you touch it, you get a glob, and then it levels out. So I'll pass these around if you didn't see one out there. And again, I'm not a techno guy. I've been struggling with the laser. They don't have a project manual with it. So they don't tell you how to do certain things with it, but it's supposed to have a 10,000 hour lifespan, so there's a lot of room there to play with it and figure out what's going on. And if anybody buys one, I'll be glad to show you the little bit that I know about it, and then you can pick up the ball and run with it. So tonight what I was going to do is show you how I do. The tops and the bottoms are basically the same, except they're just a different shape. So you can, like I said, you can see these. This is a 5-inch. This is a 5-inch base and a 5-inch top. And then this, I do some easy figuring. I make a 1-inch tenon on this end, 1 inch long, 1-inch tenon on this end, 1 inch long, and this starts out as a 14-inch piece of wood. Helps me make the mat. 1 inch on this end, 1 inch on this end leaves me 12. 12 is easily divisible by 3 or 4 or whatever. So it's not rocket science. It's just looking at my ruler. The reason for the 1-inch hole in there is I can use a chuck. I don't use many face plates. In fact, I can't remember the last time I used a face plate. I use a chuck like this or one like this, and there are bigger ones of these. I think there's one up here with different jaws on it and stuff like that. So, and the reason is, if I put screws in everything, I got to figure out how to get where to put them to get rid of those screw holes. So I'm not going to do a lot of turning on this, but I'll show you. I've started, have a little tenon here, and I know that it fits within. I don't worry too much about having a precision tenon. The only thing I do is I put a little bevel on the back of here, so that when I tighten the jaws, it pulls into the piece of wood. There's somebody out there who's got a little tool that says it's the same angle as the jaws that they sell, and I'm not sure that I want to spend another $100 to get a tool that I can do the same thing just by eye. So anyway, I've turned it down, turned the tenon on here, and what I'll do now is we'll take this, and you'll have to forgive me a little bit if I stumble. When I moved to Florida, I brought all my stuff with me. I don't have a golf cart. My wife doesn't like golf carts, and so there wasn't much sense in having one. But she allowed me to make that my shop. So I brought all my stuff with me. Have a golf cart shop, or have a golf cart converted. And I have my lathe and dust collection, bandsaw, and a variety of other things in there. Let's see. And like I said, if you'll forgive me, I'll probably do some fumbling on getting stuff. And of course, the important thing is never make your tenon here longer than the depth of your jaws. You just want to use the front face. This is probably, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch, not even 1/8 of an inch. I usually spin it around a little bit. Sometimes I will just turn it a little bit. kind of give it a little spin. You can tell if it's out around. That's not too bad because it was a rough piece here. Always take this out. They bite. Don't ask me how I know, but they bite. I'm not going to clean this up too much because I make this set up so that just a little bit bigger than 2 inches. And I've been using roughly 1/4 of an inch out here.
So the bottom has to have that shape?
Pardon me?
The bottom has to have that shape?
No. You can see on there, you can,
I thought it has to do with the weight.
nope. In fact, the one on the back, the only thing it doesn't allow you to put anything in it. Obviously, it's more of a pedestal type base on it. But again, these are just rough idea. If you want to make one 12 inches because that's the wood that you've got, there's people out there that have, well, if you look around the room, some people have long hair, some people have short hair, or shorter hair. Some people have no hair. But they don't buy wig stands either. And to hollow this out here, on this side here, it's kind of tough to get all the way in there with a bowl gouge to get it all done. So I use scrapers. I don't use, not for any particular reason, but I don't use carbide scrapers. I don't use any of the new ones that you got. I learned the old way. How many people in here do flat work? Nobody? Everybody's all just turning? Anybody know what a card scraper is? Okay, what's a card scraper? A little flat piece of metal, and you put a burr on the end of it. Okay, these scrapers here are card scrapers with a handle. That's exactly what they are. It's a card scraper with a handle on it. It's a lot easier to use. If you've ever used a card scraper, that's why the guy invented a holder for it that bends it, and all you have to do is push it across. I will start this with a bowl gouge. This lathe is a little bit short for me. It wouldn't take me too long for my back to start complaining. And I can keep going deeper with that, but this particular scraper is just about the right size. Probably should put this on.
What speed were you at?
It's about 1,000. I don't normally pay too much attention to speed. I'm going to take this off for just a second to show you what kind of shavings you get coming out of here. And all I'm doing with this is to make this really just a little bit lighter to handle.
Hand me some of that. Pass it.
Now, with this, let's see. There's really not a lot of tear out in here. I'm not going to go too deep. I'm not going to hollow this out because I'm going to show you how I turn it around and work on the top. But now I'm going to do what they call shear scraping. And see what I'm getting off of there? And getting back to the card scraper, any of you ever see the 1500, 1600 inlays that people did with wood and stuff? You know how they smooth that all out?
Card scraper.
Card scraper. Why? They use a card scraper. Sandpaper hadn't been invented yet. Okay, and if it was expensive, but they had the tools already to do it with.
They use shark skin, literally use shark skin.
Yep. And this is just a plain. I'll pass one around and you can feel the burr on the end of that. And at this point, you probably could start that. Could start this at least with 180 or 220 grit sandpaper. In fact, what I'll do is eventually when we get down to it, I'm not going to sand on it or anything tonight because it makes a lot more dust. I'll just go ahead and pass it around when we're done, and you can see the kind of finish you can get with a scraper with a burr. Now there'll be a lot of times when I go in and do this much of it, take it out like that, sharpen the scraper. Go back in, do a little bit more. When it gets time to do the shear scraping, sharpen the scraper. And this one here, I would imagine that I probably sharpened the scraper at least 20 times. Okay? The only thing I can say, if you want to take your turning to your next level, sharp tools. Don't get caught up with, this is the ultimate tool. There is no ultimate tool. Okay, there's a tool that'll do this, there's a tool that'll do that, and whatever. But
do you only grind, or do you put it in the that device where you can put a burr on it?
I use both.
You use
Yep.
burr on it too?
Yep. Well, that has a burr from the grinder.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's the Veritas has one over here with a hardened, and I have one at home that I can actually, that I made out of a piece of hardened steel, and you can put a little burr on here, and that does really fine work.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of it is too, is not being overzealous. Patience with going in here. And the other thing that I've heard people say, well, I can sand that out. Okay, well, yes, you can if you like sanding. Okay? But you got to figure at 600 RPMs, your material is passing by your tool 10 times a second. 2 seconds, it's gone by 20 times. Okay, if you're still not happy with it, sandpaper is not going to take that out. A sharp tool will. Okay, and that's what I think about is at 1200 RPMs, it's going by twice as fast, twice as many times per second. So a lot of it is sharp tools, and you can see that I was going in here very gently to get fine shavings coming out of it.
Grain tearing?
Well, sometimes you just, again, sharp tools are the best answer. Now, there's two other things that I have seen that work. Sometimes if you've got a lot of tear out, I've seen people put wax on them. Okay, what the wax does, it softens up the grain fibers, and you can cut them off, again, with your sharp tool. The other thing I've seen is put sanding sealer on it, let it dry. The sanding sealer stiffens them up so that they cut cleanly. Now, which one works when? I don't know.
Different woods.
Different woods, different times, you know, and different trees. You get maple one time and it works great. The next time you heck of time with it. If you get loggers don't like to do wood from the outside of the forest. They want the wood from the inside of the forest because it grows straighter and the grain is much nicer. If you get it on the edge of the woods like that, the wind is whipping it back and forth, and that's where you get a lot of nice figured grain is from the outside trees. But figured grain is also harder to work with. But anyway, between wax or sanding sealer, I've never been able to find anybody that could tell me which one works when. So anybody have any questions about so far? Okay, what I'm going to do, in fact, I can use this to. Yep. How many of you look up things on YouTube? Okay. If you don't, you really should take a look at it.
But be careful who you watch.
There's a lot of good stuff out there. But there's a lot of people that are in it because they're getting paid to do it. No, I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going with that. That happened to any of you? And you're going to notice that I'm slowing down as I go into the center. The center's turning surface feet per second much slower than the outside edges. Oh, I know where we're going with YouTube. You see the guys that are doing a bowl, and they got these big stream shavings coming off like that, and there's a couple people out there that they set a trash can over here, and they'll get it just right, and they'll put the shavings right in the trash can. Okay, first of all, it's showmanship. Okay, second of all, you know what the secret is? Green wood. Green wood. It was cut down 3 days ago, or just long enough so they're not going to get drowned with the moisture coming out of it. You can do that. You get kiln dried oak, you get kiln dried walnut, cherry, you're not going to get streamers. You can get little streamers, but you're not going to be able to put them in the trash can. Now I've got this down where it's evened up a little bit. And what I want to do is I put just a little bit of a taper on it. Just make the inside, and it's the same thing that you do with when you make a bowl. You don't have to have much. And when I get around to doing the spindle end of things, we'll put a taper on the end of there, so that when you put them together, they just rest on the outside edge here. So you won't hardly see a line along here. I mean, you'll see it because it's two different color woods, but it'll be nice and tight.
I noticed they don't have spade bits back in the certain, why?
There's no good reason. I mean, a lot of people don't use them anymore. That's why the only reason. People are using the mortar bits and the thread bits.
I think spade bits are kind of the bastard child of the drilling.
Rodney Dangerfield of bits.
They're considered like a construction drill.
Yeah.
Electricians use them to bore
to
through
drill holes
two
in
by fours and stuff like that. There.
Well, I find they do a pretty good job.
Yes, and they do a much nicer job on end grain.
Yeah.
I would dare say that if you went back here and pulled out the Forstner bits, you'll be lucky if you find one that doesn't need sharpening. How many of you are skilled in sharpening Forstner bits? How many of you got dull Forstner bits at home? Okay. This one here, you can sharpen this.
Real easy.
It's very simple. You don't have to be exact. In fact, I took this one. I didn't want the point so long, so I ground the point off. Just got to be careful to try to keep it pretty much in the center. Now, my lathe at home doesn't have inch graduations on the. Yes.
Do you have a small point down there?
Not real small.
Just a little one.
No, this one's probably quarter.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty close to normal.
Yeah, but again, for these, it's not long enough that it's going to come through any place. So that's what I looked at. And these are inexpensive enough. If I needed to, 2 minutes on I have a belt grinder, and a couple of seconds on the belt grinder, and I could make this one, this long here. Take that much off the end of it. You just get out your caliper a little bit and measure from here to there, and from here to there, and try to keep it about in the center. I have a Laguna lathe, which I like. It's a smaller lathe, but it doesn't have graduations on here. So I needed. Now I slow way down here. I drill probably about 450, 500 RPM. I saw somebody drilling pens the other day, and they were running the drill in at 2,000 RPM. on the lathe, the same as that they were turning at to turn it.
Did you smell it?
Yes, yes. Anyway, what I'm going to do is just run this in till it starts to make there. Now I want to go an inch deep.
So what size is that again?
I'm sorry?
What size bit is that again?
It's a 1-inch bit. Oh, let's see. I got it.
With your pencil?
Oh, here it is. Nope. So take my ruler out. I put it here and say, okay, look at what I'm going to do is back this up to, I'm right at the 1/2 inch mark. Run this in here. I put this on here, back this off a little bit, let it get started. Hold my ruler here. Now, you know, not every lathe that you're going to see has inch graduations here. Plus, they don't line up. Every time you use a different length bit, you've got to adjust for it. But now I've got a 1/2 inch.
Another thing that works well is a piece of blue tape on the stand.
Yep. I'm just a little bit short of 1 inch. So what I want to do is I want to make it just a little bit, half the turn over. Anybody know why?
Glue.
Glue. That's it, exactly. So now I can take this off. Be real careful when you take these off because they, if you drop them, they ding up your ways, and if they roll off the ways, they ding up your foot. My 1-inch hole.
Run the tailstock into it.
Yeah, actually, if I would have made this flat, you run this up against it and it's going to push it straight in. But I didn't take the time to make that perfectly flat. And let's see how it's running. Not bad. We're gonna take this off anyway, so. is the best I can do with the long streamers coming off. And this to me is all practice. I'm not in a big hurry to really crank this down. What I do want to do is try to do this the best I can. Where do you find these little things here?
You're talking about the nipple?
Yeah, where do you find these? Right here. Don't you find them in the bottom of your bowl all the time?
Real easy to do.
So this is a couple of practice runs right here to get rid of them. And rubbing the bevel, I equate to using the fence on a table saw. But you can go in a little deeper, or you can go in a little shallower, but it's all with rubbing the bevel. I do wear gloves. I know there's a school of thought out there. I have leather gloves. I have what's called Dupuytren's contracture. And that's as much as I can straighten my fingers out. Okay? They don't hurt, they got good grip, they work everything, but they just don't look so good.
How do you draw?
So that's why
How do you make that gesture when you're drawing?
people understand. And if the tips coming off of here are quite warm. And again, this is good practice for bowl work to see how smooth I can do it. And again, I've been watching people get, I was watching someone the other day, was about this far over the tool rest with the bowl gout and wondered why he was having a hard time with it. So, not too many times can you do this and do a complete cut from start to finish all the way around without adjusting the tool rest. and you can drop the handle down like this and get real fine shavings coming off of there.
Does everybody remember Chris's demo on that shape? What type of a curve is that called? Cat. Cat's in there. You're halfway there. Cat. Not a trap.
I'm gonna have to go. Okay, I'm not gonna fuss with that anymore. I don't want people to get up and start leaving. That's reasonable, smooth. This scraper here was one patterned after a British wood turner by the name of Ray Key. And he used scrapers almost exclusively, but unfortunately Ray's no longer with us. But I saw this and had this one made. It's kind of nice because I can do this way around, or I can do this way around. And sometimes we mentioned earlier about torn grain. Sometimes that'll make a difference. Try going in a different direction. So anyway,
You can buy that scraper from D-Way Tools out in, I believe it's Oregon, Washington, on the West Coast.
What was that now?
D-Way Tools sells scraper with that shape.
D-Way
D-Way, as in David, yeah.
or D-Way?
Yeah.
Yep. D-Way Tools.
the guy's name is Dave that runs it, and D-Way is Dave's way.
When Dave retired, Jimmy runs it.
Yeah.
I talked to him today.
Okay, that's basically the top. You know what? I'm gonna hit that again right there. See if I can take out the head some tear out there. You can see how light those shavings are.
And by the way, all of the trucks, whether it's a one-way, when you drill that 1-inch hole, you have to smash everything off. It's not so easy. As Dan talked about, the tail spot, that's easier to do. You got, just go
Doesn't
backward
work.
and forward sideways.
You want me to
There
get
you
a
go.
hammer?
That's it.
We
No.
may have to.
No, just do it.
Yeah, it's on there pretty.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's almost there.
Watch that arm, Rat.
What?
Cut your arm.
Pass it around. You can see that that's reasonable smoothness for.
So those grooves that you cut on the bottom are just for making it lighter?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. On the base it gives a place to put things, as I mentioned earlier. But and again, you can. The sky's the limit on what you want to do with those. Okay. I'm not gonna.
Could you hang little hooks from the top?
Sure. In fact, I know somebody that's made takes a similar thing and makes a jewelry thing about it, a jewelry hanger. Only just instead of making it round like this, makes it kind of flat, and then goes around it with an indexer and drills holes for pierced earrings, and you can put hooks underneath it for necklaces and things like that. So that opens up a whole nother area of things that you can do. Now I would take that and sand it probably through 400 grit. I'd probably start with 180 on it and go 180, 220, 320, 400, and see how it come out. Maybe I'd have to go back. Maybe I'd have to go back. If you get to 400, you're going to find something that you don't like. It never seems to fail. But if you think you can go back to 320, go back to 220. I always think, whatever I think I can do it with, I go back one more grit. And the other thing that I've been using that I like a lot, and well, let's see, maybe we can do it. I'll do it on here. While I'm getting this set up, I will send this around. The part that has no finish on it yet. The part that's the smooth part, and I left it that way because I want to show you something about Yorkshire grit. I think so. Yeah, it's a mineral oil, beeswax, and abrasive powder. And the nice thing about this is, like, I called the company because on the commercials and stuff it says you can put any finish over it. Well, I always heard that if you were going to use lacquer, that you had to make sure that you didn't have any wax or anything on it. But I called the company and they said, you can put whatever finish you want to do right over the top of this. So, but I still use sanding sealer. I put a coat of sanding sealer on it, like this top here. I would sand it, I would use this, I would put a coat of sanding sealer on it, buff it back with steel wool. Sometimes a second coat of sanding sealer, smooth it out, because the sanding sealer will raise the grain a little bit. So get the little nibs sanded off, and then I usually, most of my finishes, I use lacquer, only because lacquer dries. This is my highly engineered paint booth. Okay, I don't have a paint booth at home. This goes out and sits in front of my garage in the driveway. I check and see which way the wind is blowing, and there's my spray booth. I don't have to worry about spray or anything else. I stand with my back to the wind, and hopefully I can get a day when there's no wind. But spray, turn this like this, And now on this, I can pick it up and bring it inside. I bring it inside my shop because I do have air conditioning in the shop, so I'll leave it in the shop and let it set. Take it out the next time, turn it around, spray the other side, do the same, go through the same grits and everything else and do that. So usually somewhere with around 3 or 4 layers of lacquer on these. And when we first started, they said they wanted a water-based polyurethane on the wig stands because it didn't react with anything. And but now Gail told me, she tells people, we have a wig stand. When you wash your wig, take one of the plastic wig stands, put it on it. It's designed to let it dry there. And she said, use the ones that are being made for you just for display purposes after your wig is dry or whatever. So, yes.
Sheer grit is part of Easy Wood tools. You can order that online from Easy Wood and you get our discount.
Oh, nice. Let's see. Something else that I do that may or may not be benefit. I have a board, and I have everything from 100 grit to 2,000 grit sandpaper. I made a little jig. A sheet of sandpaper works good that you can get 1-inch strips. They're 9 inches wide. That gives me 3-inch pieces, and they fit on the board like this. I do small stuff. I'd say small stuff. I use this if I want to sand on a 9 or a 10-inch bowl. I see people here with sandpaper. They got a quarter of a sheet, and they're, and then the next thing you know, if you check the trash bin, there's the whole quarter sheet is there. So I get better usage this way. Usually I start like this. I'll start here, sand around, go to this side, sand around, flip it over, and try to make the best usage that I can out of my sandpaper. How are we doing on time? Are we?
Another half hour.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Where's the?
Behind you.
Nope, the spindle there. We're gonna do that next.
That's lacquer on
Pardon me?
That's lacquer on
On this? No, there's nothing on it.
any of it?
Not on that. No.
Even the two polished ones?
Yep. There's nothing on it. That's what I'm gonna show you here in just a second. Yes, I'm
12
gonna.
inches.
They're 1-inch tenons. I started with a 14-inch piece. That's what I tell you. All of mine are about the same size. I start in with the small sheets like this, half, half, and half. And this guy actually comes in two grits. This is the basic one, and then they have another grit where if you're doing acrylics, it works very nice on acrylics. Sanding, I usually sand through probably 3,000 or 4,000 grit, and then use that on top of it. And then lastly, when I did some pens and I made some bottle stoppers with acrylic, I use McGuire's magnesium wheel polish on it. And that really does a nice job. I will say this: the grit here does add a little bit of color to it, but to me, this is more of a color of cherry than this end here is. So, well, let's see. They say started about 500 grit or 500 RPM. And just kind of work your way up to about 1,000, and just keep rubbing it in. And it's not like a wax. It is a wax, but it's not penetrating. Now I go to a clean spot here and rub it off. They get a little bit, you can see a little bit here. I'll flip it over, get another clean corner. Got a little bit there. Still getting a little bit. A little bit less each time. Now I got some new corners that I can use. A little bit. Got just a tiny bit left on there. God bless you. You can tell which end it is, it's warm.
Can you pass that
Sure.
stuff around?
Yep.
Like if you
And then,
feel
like I
that,
say,
does it feel gritty? Does it feel a little?
Nah. I think it's either got, I think it's got what they call rotten stone in it, or I forget what the other one is, pumice. And those are what they use on I'll pass a paper towel around with it, open it up and take a look at it. That's what they use to polish lacquer after they put lacquer on all of the things that we see in museums that we ooh and ah, and that were French polished and stuff like that. They used rotten stone to do the final polishing on it.
And where did you buy this stuff again?
I don't know where. I think I got that maybe from. I just Googled it and bought it. But Steve says the Easy Wood people are carrying it. I'm not sure if Clean Sport has it or not.
They do. I think Easywood bought the company, so they're offering it. It used to come from England, and now it doesn't. You can buy it at Rockler, where we get a 10% discount, or Woodcraft, or you can get 16% off if you want to buy it directly from Easywood. It's equivalent to a product called Triple E that came out of Australia that was about twice the price. So this is really a bargain. So they're about $20 for that, and then you get 16% off.
Now, what grid?
The one you bought was 60?
And all I could find was a wood store Texas. I can't remember the
No, you can get it all over now.
And so he said there's more than one grid.
Yeah, the other one you don't necessarily want. This one is black, just to make a white tub in a black tub. You want the black.
So this is the finer of the grids?
No, the white one was fine.
This is the coarser.
Yeah, the finer one, I was told, is more for use if you're turning some acrylic. That would be one of the final things you would use on the acrylic.
Hot doesn't have an abrasive so much. Hot is more of a wax. It's going to fill the voids with the wax. So hot is like a.
And the thing is it's, you know, I don't worry about it. You know, with some things that you have, you got to be careful. Take your rags and lay them on the floor until they dry. With this stuff, I've never seen it, so.
I think it's mineral oil, so
Yeah.
it's not a big risk. You can taste it and find out.
Yeah, thanks anyway. But it might work good on polish. You know.
Clean all that off, yeah. This one's the micro progressive like this.
But like I said, I like the way it finishes, and then like I said, the people said you can put spray lacquer right over the top of it. I still put a coat of sanding sealer on it and buff the sanding sealer back a little bit. And
Could you leave it just like that?
I don't see why you couldn't.
Looks good to me.
You know, you could probably just put some wax on it for, you know, and again, a lot depends on the finish that you're going to use on things, what they're going to be used for. You know, it's like making pens. If you're making a pen for your 5-year-old grandson, you know, you're not going to put the finish on it that you're going to put if it's a graduation present or a retirement present for somebody. You know, because the grandson's going to, in a week and a half, he's going to either forget where he left it or lose it. And did everybody get to see this back there? I'm just going to do a little bit on this to show you how I take it down for doing the spindle work. And there's 2 ways that you can do this. I'm a skew person. I like using the skew. So I'll turn this down a little bit using the skew, and I'll turn some of it down using a spindle roughing gouge.
Anybody need this? Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay, spindle roughing gouge. skew.
Elliot asked me to explain what he was doing. First, what he was doing is a peeling cut, and then he transitioned to a planing cut to smooth it out. The peeling cut is usually you lift and push over the top, and the planing you move sideways, pretty much building the bevel, staying away from the heel and toe. It leaves a better finish than anything else.
And again, if you want to get good at using a skew, there's a lot of practice in spindle work, taking it down. Now, I would only take this down to about here where I can do the first cove in there. If I leave this square, it gives me a lot less chance that it's going to vibrate. So I see people take the whole thing down, everything, but now it's round, and you'll start to get some whip in it. But that's always nice if you like making some nice ripples. They're hard to duplicate, but you get ripples all along. Now, I've been able to take the ripples out by just taking a very light cut, because if you take a heavy cut, the wood wants to push away from you. Well, it pushes out, springs back, pushes out, springs back. That's how you get the ripples as you're going along. But if you can take a real light cut, now what I do here is these I set them earlier for 1 inch, for I will say a fat 1 inch. So I'm going to mark my 1 inch tenon on here. Remember, parting tool is a cutting tool. A lot of people just take and jam it straight in. Well, you get a straight in, tear out cut. So you can ride the bevel with this. Planing cut again. Right down to there. Remember I said I hollow this back just a little bit? You can do this with the point of the skew. Just go in like that. And let's see how close to 1 inch we are. Harbor Freight Special. Okay? I don't like the plastic ones. I don't think they're accurate enough. Okay? These are probably more than accurate for what we need. Take the hole, go in here like this, and kind of get a measurement. It says it's 991 thousandths of an inch. So it's 9 thousandths from being 1 inch. I hit the 0 button. Put it on here. I'm 8.5 thousandths over. That's all I have to take off to make that match. Now, it's a good idea to take a couple of measurements. Out here I'm 6 under, 6 thousandths under, and there I'm 36 thousandths over. So seven thousandths over, 4 thousandths over. You don't think that would make too much of a difference, but it will.
How tight a fit do you want?
Pardon?
How tight a fit do you want?
This is a little looser than I would have wanted. I did it rather quickly, but it's not bad. There's not much sideways movement. I always put these together with epoxy, and I'll take and mix up my epoxy, put it on the inside here, because when I put this in, it pushes the glue in instead of squeegeeing it off of here. So it's okay. There's not much sideways movement, but
You have time to tell us about
it's
the laser.
looser than I would like.
So why not Woodworkers?
Pardon me?
Why not Woodworkers?
You can. No, yeah, no. I understand. I just use epoxy because I figure it's, and you know, wood glue. You see the demonstrations where they put it in, try to pull it apart, and the wood gives before the glue does. That's, like I said, I was in too much of a hurry. Try this one in there. Try that one in there. See this one? There. That's a much better fit. But that's quicker than any other way that I've found to get a good tendon. And that's really all there is to it. The base and the top are the same. It's just that they have different shapes on the outside. Again, let your imagination go with it, and do something special. My next venture is I see this flower on the top of here. I'm going to do it on maple and then try to color it. I made a bowl. In fact, I brought it in. I made a bowl with maple leaves on it. I don't know if any of you remember seeing that. And I colored them with watercolor. So that's going to be my next one, is to put put a bunch of maple leaves around this and color them like I did on the bowl.
Do you have time to show us a little bit about the laser?
Yeah. The laser right now, Steve, what did you say? It was $200 for just the laser?
Yeah, it's $199. They have a special. They include a few things, but not everything in here.
Yeah, not everything here. This The stand that I have is a couple of $100 more. And I don't have it all set up to do anything, but that stand when it's turned on, this is the Laser Pecker 1. Yeah, this is just the basic laser. And like I said, I've had it for probably 6 or 8 months, and I primarily got it for, like I said earlier, putting my name on the bottom of bowls. But now that I've been, yep, that's the one, yeah.
So that, like that bowl, how did you do that?
Okay, well,
Watercolor. If you lasered it and watercolored it, how do you select
Yep.
the color?
this is the whole laser unit right here. Yes, ma'am.
How do you set the watercolor? Do you heat it?
No, I
Never wash the bowl then?
oh yeah, no, that's not a bowl to use.
Okay.
That's not a bowl to use. And the first time I did that bowl, I used dye, and I used alcohol dye, and the alcohol dye was so thin that it wicked out underneath the laser design. So I cut it all off, relasered it, and in fact, if probably in your picture, if you blow it up a little bit, you'll see some around the edge of some of the leaves. You can see where I didn't get it deep enough to get rid of all of it. Anyway, what I came up with is, and it doesn't look the same on this lathe because I made this for my lathe at home. This goes in here, and this is designed on my lathe at home, where the center of this is right on center with the headstock.
There we go.
So this would go on here. I'm not going to put it on and line it up completely, but on my lathe at home, this comes up here, and I set the focus distance. It would be up here like that. Now I can use the index head if I need to, or this particular laser will only work on a 4-inch square. That's the biggest that we'll do. And so I can set it up here. I run it from my phone, and
From your phone, you just use your phone?
yeah, the Laser Pecker 1 only works from a phone, either Android or the other guy.
iPhone.
Yeah.
Is it Bluetooth then?
Pardon me?
Is it Bluetooth? Or is it a
Yeah,
Wi-Fi?
yeah. And
How's it that?
For instance-
Is that battery? It's like
no,
you charge?
no, it's,
How much you get?
you plug this in. This goes into the back of here. You plug this in. It's Bluetooth from my cell phone.
And from your phone, you can pick fonts and stuff?
I can pick fonts, and there's a whole program in there with, they've got, there's clip art, they call it, and there's flowers, and there's animals, and all things that you can import in there and move them around, make them bigger, smaller, to
So
fit what
when
you're doing.
printed on something like that that's round, the focal length changes. Is it?
Well, there's enough variation that the 4 inches on here doesn't affect it too much. Again, that was one of the patterns that I lasered. This took about This took about probably 20, 25 minutes to do. Because it's like the old dot matrix printer. It goes line by line, going across.
Looks good.
And then on the back of here, I can put this design in there. And then I flipped it around and turned it upside down for the bottom portion. You want me to stand still here someplace?
Yeah, okay there.
Right there? Yeah. So, and then I went back on there and I put this inscription in here and I can enter that in. So then the laser starts, does this one, and then puts the lettering in. And then for this one here, I just did a text down here and it'll give you a preview. It won't outline the whole like this. It won't outline this, but it will show you that it's this wide by this wide. And you can adjust it, you know, now I can adjust it using the tool post, or I can adjust it within the program itself to move it around. Now, I took it one step, go ahead.
For that dome effect, it doesn't get lighter on the edges?
Well, not on this particular dome. If you made it more of a hard curve. So,
Within that 4-inch.
oh, and that 4-inch thing. And then it will tell you if your design is outside of it. Now, I needed something, I said, what if I want to do something on the edge of a bowl? I said, let me think about that for a minute.
I think the piece over there is on the table.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, thanks. I went and got a couple pieces of aluminum.
You gonna get a patent on that?
It fits in there a little bit better than that. This is a common thread. Went to good old Ace Hardware. And now I can bring it out here, tighten it up. Now the focus distance on this one is 8 inches. Oh, that's over here too. So I set this up for 8 inches, get it squared away, and now I can laser the edge of my put a design.
Your shirt.
Pardon?
Because it's on the other side.
He's gonna face the wrong way.
You what?
You gotta face.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that would get quite warm.
So do you laser pins and stuff like that?
But I can only do one line.
Okay.
Okay, I can't. This does not. This particular laser picker one does not support a roller where you could put it in and have it, you know, go around. They do tumblers and they do glasses and you can do pens and stuff like that.
So
but
when you say one line, like
I can put a name. I can put your name on a pen.
just one line of print?
Just one line of print.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I did this.
Yeah.
Lay it in here, move it and hit the preview. I get a rectangle because I printed out a name, and I just move this around until it's in the center of the pen. And I don't know if I can. Let me see if real quick if I can find.
Can you get a discount on those?
Pardon me? Oh.
Not that I know of,
You're not trying hard enough.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Does that show?
Yeah.
Does that show it on the screen? Is there a name there?
Get it close. I can't see it. close. There you go. Name.
See,
Very cool.
that's, I put Carrie with a heart and Swanson. Carrie's my daughter and Swanson is her dog, and I put a heart in the middle. And then I put paw prints all the way around it. I could scale the paw prints down that were in the laser program, and then I just turn the pen, hit preview, see where it's showing, zip, run off a paw print, turn the pen, and put them just in random, and
Do you finish it after that?
yeah. I tried using a CA finish with the laser and it blistered. It didn't like it, so.
You put the CA on after you laser.
Pardon me?
Put the CA on after.
I put, I wound up with hers. I wound up putting on a few coats of lacquer. And there's all that I originally wanted to do. And I've expanded a little bit. It can be kind of addicting. That the other thing I make is birdhouse Christmas ornaments. Okay, and I thought that now I can lay them down and put a little design on the side of it. Maybe there's some like looks like flower bushes and stuff like that. I can laser a small one of them on the side of the ornament. So there's
That's awesome.
and you know, have any of you heard of fractal burning?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can do fractal burning with a laser.
With that one.
No, well, it doesn't go as deep as some of the other ones, but if you've got a 10 watt or a 20 watt laser, it will actually burn into the wood without the electric effect. You know, because all you're doing with fractal burning is you're running electricity through the wood and letting it burn a design in there. Well, you put the same design in your laser and laser it on the wood. There's no, you're not going to get electrocuted. You might go blind if you don't wear the glasses, but you're not going to. Anyway, that's some of the possibilities. Any more questions?
That's awesome.
So,
Thank you.
you know, if I can help anybody anytime, let me know. I usually volunteer in the wood shop on Mondays, but my email is easy to remember. It's just my name at Gmail, Edward DeMay at Gmail. So, or I'm probably in the there's a directory here. So, you know, if I can help you out, you're welcome to come to my shop anytime. Give me a call and come over and see how I do things. Like I said, I don't know everything, and I'm grateful to all of the people that I know, be it beginners or seasoned turners, professional turners, that I've borrowed stuff from. So anyway, thanks for putting up with me.
How long have you been doing these?
Oh, about 7 years. Yeah, I figure I've probably done somewhere around 25 or 30 of them.